Yeah, okay.
All right.
But
All right,
here's my
Scott.
question.
Hold on, Ben. Scott,
Can I
go
just
ahead.
raise one other sort of forward-looking issue? Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he
Thank
did
you
over
for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it.
What's happening, everybody? After a much-needed day off yesterday, Scott Jennings was back on the panel on Newsnight with Abby Phillip. Yesterday, Donald Trump signed a blockbuster trade deal with the UK that's beneficial to both sides. Cause for celebration, right? Not so fast. Scott Jennings wasn't surprised at all that Abby Phillip and the panel spent a short segment attempting to poke holes in the deal, and since their propaganda hasn't had the effect they'd hoped it would, they resorted to Old Faithful, a segment on racism and sexism. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings sit back and smirk at the panel's desperate attempts to shift the narrative while also delivering some sobering truths. Let's go.
Things was his unwillingness to even acknowledge that maybe some of the issues had to do with it too.
No, if you watch the entire interview, he did acknowledge it and he took responsibility. He said, look, I was in charge. So yeah, the buck stops with me. I was, it is my responsibility. I think part of what happened between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and this entire election is that there's a lot of affection and loyalty between the two. There was a lot of gossip for 4 years that they didn't like each other, that he was undercutting her, that she was unhappy. I think she couldn't distance herself from him out of loyalty. And I think today what you heard from him was a lot of deference and affection towards his vice president, a role that he played.
But let me ask you a question, though. He said he wasn't surprised that she lost, but that he would have won the race. That's like saying, well, I was a boat anchor on my vice president, so she drowned in this election, but the anchor itself would have floated. That's that is crazy talk for him to say that.
He did not say that he would have won the race.
He literally said it.
He's like,
I wasn't surprised, but I would have won. The idea that he believes to this day.
Here's the thing,
one more issue.
I mean, he
When I
not
watched
only
it today-
he not only said that, but he has said it repeatedly. That he believes that he would.
He's crapping
Let's
on
go
her.
back to what you said about racism. Can we just take a moment and talk about a white guy saying that racism's white should win, and also the same white guy, Joe Biden, says I would have won. Like, you were one and the same person here. Like, if you're going to blame racism, it's absurd. My point is, the idea that she lost because of racism is absurd. She lost because the country was in a disastrous place, and they blamed him and his politics that she had to defend.
Can I tell you something?
And he's a white guy saying, as a white guy, he won and she didn't win. It's absurd.
You as a white guy have the privilege of saying that racism, and you as a white male.
I'm saying it's an incredibly
I am telling you right
ridiculous
now.
statement as a white guy to sit there and stage and say, I would have won with the same policies that she ran on.
As a woman of color, I am telling you that it is incredibly ridiculous for you, with the privilege that being a white male gives you in this country, to say that there wasn't some element of racism
I think it was
and
terrible
sexism.
policy. But I think if you guys stick with this idea, hold on, if you stick with this plan, which is every time we lose an election, racism has to be involved.
I cannot let this go on this show in front of millions of Americans who will watch this, whether or not it's on Snapchat, TikTok, or Twitter. The point still remains when we're talking about the issue of race and gender in this country, that everyone is not on equal playing fields. That the fact that, yes, we have a black woman, whether or not she is in academia, whether or not she's in business or in politics,
then are you going to run her again?
The field is not equal. She's actually the best candidate for governor of the state of Georgia and whatever else she wants to do.
If she's so good, and it's only an issue of what you're saying.
I said California. What'd I say?
Georgia.
Yeah,
okay. All right, Scott, hold on, Ben. Scott,
Can I
go
just
ahead.
raise one other sort of forward-looking issue? Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he
Thank
did
you
over
for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it. I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week, I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them. Between what he looks like today and what they're about to report, get ready to cover.
And you guys know all this stuff, right? That white men don't have to work as hard as black women, and that white men aren't allowed to have opinions on anything. So let me say this one time. If any of you disgusting white males have any thoughts in those privileged little heads of yours, get them out right now. Sorry, but it needed to be said. Let me just say this, I'll get back to the video. If in those books that are coming out, they name names as to who knew that Joe was in decline and had been lying about it over and over in front of the American people, that will be a bomb to the Democrats. If it just says some staffers thought Biden was mentally impaired, we'll all be like, yeah, and the liberals will find a way to spin it, you know? Back to it.
Sure that Joe Biden fully realizes even his own
Decline.
deficits in this moment, Anna. I think seriously, he seems to not. He was asked about it directly, and he doesn't seem to get it at all, which is part of the problem.
Well, look, Abby, I don't know many elected officials in any party who willingly walk away from their elected office, right? I think it's hard for everybody. Look, I think this was very hard for Joe Biden. I think he took responsibility for that. He did not say what you just said, Scott, that he said. You just said that
what did he not say?
You said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance from him.
It's been reported. He told
It doesn't
her
matter
point
what he
blank,
was.
He told her point blank, no daylight, kid, no daylight.
Because reporting can never be wrong.
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
If you want to be
you come in
anti-journalism,
and
I'll
you
be
come on
pro-journalism,
here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the
there's
question
critical
directly.
reporting about this guy,
Okay.
and he told her point
Well,
blank,
we asked
no
him.
daylight.
We asked him directly today.
All right.
Did you tell her
You think
that?
he's ever told a lie?
I don't think he
He
tells
tells
many
about
lies.
cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done.
Come on.
Wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every
tragic what
freaking
you just
day
said.
and
Because
lies
it's tragic.
continuously. You
It's
support a
tragic
guy
what you just said.
who
I
cannot
don't think he tells many lies.
acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election
Jake Tapper
and that
right next
lies
to you,
about it.
Yeah.
I have no
We
idea
gotta
what's
go,
in Jake
guys.
Tapper's
Everybody,
act.
About
thank
the
you
Have you
cognitive
read
decline and
it?
the cover-up.
Have you read it?
Because reporting can never be wrong. This coming from a woman who trumpeted the Democrat Party's message all the way up to the election, which was Trump said he admires Hitler. Trump said servicemen and women are suckers and losers. Remember that? That was the Democrats' entire strategy against Trump. Every accusation levied against him leading up to the election was based on third, fourth, fifth-hand information. Now you're not so sure about reporters, Anna? Huh. And do you guys hear that? Joe Biden doesn't lie very much. The laughter that burst out of Scott and Ben when she said that was maybe the most authentic reaction I've ever seen on this show. And what was her response? But Trump, just perfectly on cue. I'll be honest with you, though. In his latter years in the White House, I do not think Joe Biden lied. I genuinely think he was so out of it mentally that his staff just told him what to say and pointed where to stand. Like I always say, another crime of the Democrats, elder abuse. Oh yeah, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris hated one another, and they still do. And Jill. But what did you guys think about this panel and their race-baiting BS? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching videos of Scott Jennings just owning the whole CNN panel, then click on the one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. Never forget Jesus loves you. See you guys.